welcome to the African Fighters. Today we have a very, very special guest with us, MMA enthusiast, media guy, also passionate about African fighters as well. He is part of the team of the Fight Week show. He is no other Mr. Ola Akande. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for that introduction, man. That introduction is probably the best I've got on any show, man. So I really, really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
You're
How you
welcome.
guys
Thank
doing?
you. Doing great, doing great. And you, how is it
Yeah,
going?
man. Yeah, man. I'm good, man. I'm pumped for this fight week show. I mean, this fight week 281 UFC 281 is a big, big week for us, for our country, man, for the
Yes.
African fighters. You know what I mean? So it's a big, big week for us. But there's so many fights on that card as well. That card is tough. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Before getting into that, I can see Easy picture on the background. I was just so excited, smiling, looking at the Nigerian flag, seeing Easy there with the crown, and still, hopefully,
He's my boy, man. You know, he's our boy. We love him. He's been getting a lot of disrespect lately, man, and he's
yes,
driving me up the wall. You know what I mean? I
yes.
can't wait for this fight. I want him to do his thing, and you know, we want the easy that we've all been proud of. We want him back. So yeah,
So, guys, we'll be talking about UFC 281. If you don't know what we're talking about all along, we're looking at 281. We'll be looking at some of the fights. We're looking at the fight from prelims, early prelims, another fight from the prelims, and then we'll look at the main card. Yeah. So, Mr. Ola, I'd like us to look at the first fight on the early prelims. The fight also involving another African, Usman Azeta, taking on Matt
yeah,
Favola. You know Usman Azeta, the Moroccan, undefeated,
yeah,
former Brave CF lightweight champion.
yeah,
He's one of the star. I think from North Africa is one of the guys people look up to so much.
yeah,
The fans tune in to
yeah,
see him fight. So he had some incidents in 2020 during the pandemic. Fight Island, he brought a guest into Fight Island, and he was dismissed, even sacked
yeah,
by the UFC. Later on, about 6 months later, the UFC brought him back. He was supposed to fight. I don't know what happened in the past. His fight got cancelled, and now he's back on a big card, UFC 281, fighting Matt Favola, another big name. So tell us what you think about Abu Azita as a fighter generally, and break down this fight for us, and then we'll do the prediction as well.
yeah. Ottoman Azaitar is a fighter I like. I like him a lot. Um, you know, when you look at his manager, right? Everybody knows who his manager is. His
Yeah.
manager holds the biggest stable in the whole of UFC. Like
Yes.
there's times when you look at the card, UFC card, and Ali Abdulaziz's fighters dominate the whole card. You know,
Yes.
and that's because Ali holds that kind of key to the UFC, where something like that could happen to Ottoman Azaita, and in about 6 months is back. Right?
Yes.
Not many fighters can get dismissed like that and
True.
find their way back to the UFC unless you do have a manager like
Mm,
Ali Abdulaziz. It's
mm,
almost like the Alex Ferguson in terms of football to what he is to the UFC. Is one of the
yes.
biggest managers,
Yes.
you know, across the UFC, and he holds a lot of power. Now, Ottoman Azaita himself, yes, you know, he's had his own issues. I think he's got a brother called Abu Azaita as well,
Yes. Abu
right?
Azita. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And you know, those guys they've had their issues with the UFC. But look, when it comes to them being in the octagon, when it comes to them doing the actual work, what we really, really know them for, they
Yes.
bang, they go out there, they cause mayhem, they knock people out. I don't know if I can swear on your channel, but you know, they do crazy stuff to people.
Sure.
Um, look, for me, I Frivola is a is a big name in the game, and he's no pushover. You know, he
Mm,
knows his way around the octagon, and you know he's earned himself some pretty good wins along the way. But
yes.
I can't look no further than Ottoman Azaita in this fight, and he's going to be looking to make a statement. So people, there's something that I usually do on my show, where on my previous shows, where we pick performance of the night bonus winners and fight of the night bonus winners at the end. When we do previews, we kind
Hmm.
of try and predict it and earn points doing it. But any name Azaita, you always got to put them down for they get bonuses, and I don't think this fight is going to be any different. Ottoman
Okay.
Azaita is going to be looking for that 50K bonus. He's been out of the game for a minute. He probably has to pay Ali a little something for getting him back into the
Awesome,
UFC.
awesome.
So he's going to be looking for that bonus. So people keep your eyes peeled. Don't blink. Ali, um, Ottoman Azaita is gonna do damage. I'm expecting a good fight from this. I really really am.
Okay, and are you predicting a knockout or
I'm predicting not just a knockout, first round knockout,
first round knockout? Wow, that's a
first round
bold
knockout.
prediction. Okay, I love that. I love that. Also, myself, I'm looking at a knockout because from his record, you can tell Usman Azeta 13 wins, 9 wins by KO, TKO. So he's going to be coming in to make a statement after being away for two
Yeah.
years. He was supposed to fight Matt Favola last year. He hasn't fought in the last 2 years. So, and he knows North Africa is looking forward to this card. Over the Middle East as well.
Oh
They're
yeah.
looking forward to Azeta as well. It's like one of their own. So I think it's going to be a quick one as well. I was looking at maybe second or third round KO, TKO. But yeah, I'll go with you knockout as well. And
Mm.
the next fight we're going to look at is I want to make this quick so that I don't take so much of the time. The next one is the fight between
No
in
no
the
no.
prelims. In the prelims, Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. Another good fight.
Yes. This
Yes,
this
so
is this
Dominic,
fight
yeah. Mm. Carry
this
on,
this
carry on.
fight here this
Yes.
this fight here is one of those that you look back and you think what is Dominic Reyes doing here?
Mm.
Why are these guys on the prelim, like on
Mm.
another day,
Yes.
Dominic Reyes and Ryan Spann will be headlining a
A
fight
fight
night
night.
card.
Yes.
These are the sort of fight, and that's how good this card is. People cannot underestimate how good this card is when you
Yes.
look at the people that on this card. And
Yes.
I like this fight a lot. It's been a while since obviously we've seen Dominic Reyes come into the octagon. I think
Mm.
the last time that I really saw him was when Yuri Prohaska was putting some work on him. So
Yeah.
it's been a minute. He busted
Yeah.
his nose or something like
Yes.
that.
That was his last fight. That was his last fight. He
Yeah,
hasn't fought since then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a very good fighter. I mean the rise up until the time uh he got that fight with John Jones, he was on a meteoric rise. You know,
Mm.
and
Yes.
that was the same sort of rise that I think UFC planted for or planned for Johnny Walker. It didn't quite happen for Johnny Walker, but Dominic Reyes was on the way and on that trajectory. He
Yes.
got the title fight. I thought he won the first fight. I thought he won that fight with Johnny Jones. But since then, after that fight, it's like everything
The
just went
decline.
boom.
Yes.
Just went
Yes.
on a decline for Dominic Reyes. And we could have, but for the judges that day, we might have had a new 205 champion. That was how good
Yes.
that fight
Yes.
was.
Yes.
It's a good fighter, and I don't think you all of a sudden lose all that skill that got him to a title fight. I think it's more motivation sort of thing, and maybe working on some of the kinks in the game because Glover Teixeira showed us that Yuri Prohaska is not invincible. You know, Glover
Yes.
Teixeira showed us that Yuri Prohaska can be touched, right? And how old is Glover? You know, so there's if Dominic Reyes can probably work his way back up, maybe within 3-4 fights, very good fights, he can get himself back
Back.
to the past glory where he was. Now Ryan Spann, let me talk about Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann
Okay.
is a fighter that I like a lot. He has a lot of big power behind his punches. This
Mm.
guy can just touch you and you go to sleep. But such is the sort of power that goes on in the light heavyweight division. Such is the type of power. But he also has submissions in his game, as we see what he did with Ian Kitlaba. That was He has that submission in his locker. He
Yes.
can get that front guillotine and just cinch it tight and just lock you up if you give him a chance to do so.
Yes.
So this fight is going to be very very interesting. Ryan Span has a 5 inch reach on Dominic Reyes, and Span is a man that knows how to use his reach. He's a master at it, and I think this is going to be a good fight. I can't predict it because
Yeah.
both of these guys got power. They got power, but Ryan Span also has submission to his game. So I've not really seen that from Dominic Reyes, but we know Ryan Span has that.
Yes.
Let's see what this fight brings. But I love this fight. I can't wait to see it.
Okay. Okay. So to add something to that, you can see, like you mentioned, Ryan Span has been doing well, winning, losing. He lost to Johnny Walker along the line. He won again, lost to Anthony Smith. We thought that fight will push him up to the top of the division. He's currently ranked number 12, and Dominic is ranked number 7. So this fight, how do you see it? Do you see Ryan Span taking this fight, or do you see Dominic Reyes? Because Dominic Reyes is coming off 3 defeats, looking to bounce, but he lost to John Jones, he lost to the other guy, the former champion Blachowicz, and then lost
Yeah.
to Jerry in that devastating way. So how do you? I think he needs to win more than Ryan Span, in my opinion. You want to come back with a statement. So who do you think will win this fight? Your prediction?
Um, when you look at situations like this, I always go for fighters that are on a 3 loss bounce because they
Mm,
know they know this could be their last chance.
mm,
But the reason why I think maybe Dominic Reyes' situation is different in this situation is you have to look at the people he's lost to. These
mm.
are champions
Yes.
that are the top of the game. Usually the UFC is a bit more forgiving when you're on a 3 fight loss. But the people you're losing to, they're not just anybody. We're
Yeah.
talking world champions, yeah. So usually the UFC, they're a bit more sympathetic in that situation. But if you're losing fights to mid-table ranked fighters and you lose 3 in a row, they're gonna cut you. So I think Dominic Reyes is gonna have that grace. Having said all of that, I think he's gonna want to bounce back after a 3 fight skid, and I'll probably give him the win by decision.
By decision. Oh, awesome. So you don't think Ryan Span, who has 12 submission victories so far, can get a submission in there?
The reason it's difficult to call. It's so difficult to call, which is why I said, oh, I don't think I want to make a decision on that. But
Okay.
if gone to my head and thinking of how sometimes the dynamics of how you know UFC actually works, a lot of fighters that I've seen on 3 fight skids, usually they win their fights because
Mm.
of what's at stake. And
The
and in
pressure.
the back
Yeah.
of their mind, they know that. So they
Yeah.
find a way. They always find a way to try and win the fight because of the ramifications of being on the 3 fight streak. But I did prefix it by saying because of the people he lost to, this situation is just a little bit different. His 3 fight skid was, was put on by champions. So that has to be in consideration. But I still think he's going to try and find a way, which is why I mentioned maybe decision. Dominic Reyes is not a decision style of fighter,
Yeah.
but in this case, where you just need to get back in the win column and do anything to get back in the win column, maybe points win might not be a bad way to go.
Okay. But I'm going to pick Ryan Span this time around. He's also a hungry fighter, very determined, also looking for, I know what you mentioned, very, very valid. Any normal fighter on a good day will be caught after another defeat, but Dominic Gris is special. He has fought good opponents. So even with a defeat, he may still be in the UFC. And we know how hungry he is to get one back. But Ryan Span also looking forward to pushing himself to that top 10. He's 12, he wants to take that 7th spot. So I see Ryan Span, you mentioned earlier, the height advantage, the reach, leg reach, hand reach. So he'll be looking for a submission in there, one way or the other. And I think he'll submit Reyes in the 2nd or 3rd. Because Reyes will not want to take the Adesanya part. As they say, it's running away. He wants to engage, brawl with you, and he can put himself in danger doing that. So I see Ryan Span winning 2nd or 3rd round submission. My prediction.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Yes.
Only time will tell.
Yes. So now go to the main card. And I want us to look at the first fight on the main card. So I want us to pick one out of these two. I would like to get your opinion. Do you think we should go with Dan Hooker versus Puelis, or Frankie Edgar versus Gutierrez? Who do you want us to look at? Because Frankie Edgar, a legend, so I'd like us to look one out of these two fights. So who do you think we can
I,
look
I,
at?
I like Dan the Hangman, but
Okay, let's
let's
go
let's
Dan. Let's
give
go. Let's
Frank.
go with both of them.
No,
Let's
no,
go
no,
with both
no.
of them.
Hold on. I do like Dan, but let's give Frankie. Let's give Frankie his swan song. Let's give
Okay,
him his
great.
goodbye, his retirement breakdown. So Frankie, this one for you, Frankie. This one for you. We love you. We love you, Frankie. This
Awesome.
one for you.
Awesome. So Frankie Edgar and Chris Gutierrez. Frankie Edgar leaving the UFC after this fight. So how do you see this fight playing out in the bantamweight division?
Um, Look, this is mixed martial arts, and your opponents during from when the first bell rings to the last bell to the last minute of the last bell. They don't care about what you're coming in to do, whether you're coming
Mm,
in to hang your gloves. This is just sentimental to people like me and you that are
yeah.
watching from home, and
Yes.
people that's not in the octagon.
Yes.
But the two people that's in the octagon, they're there for one thing, and that's fighting. That's
Yes.
is the fight business, and Gutierrez, he wants that name because this is so important for people. People might not know this.
Mm,
Um, because people will look at Chris Gutierrez and think, well, why are you fighting Frankie Edgar? Frankie Edgar is a former champion.
mm,
He's a legend in the sport, and he's a good name. He's a good scalp to have on
mm,
your CV. And
mhm,
this is why Chris Gutierrez is going after this fight. This is why he
mm,
wants this fight so much. You know,
mm,
and he's coming into his last into this fight over Dana by KO TKO win. So I'm expecting, and Frankie Edgar is also coming into this fight, losing to Chino Vera
mm.
via TKO, via KO. It's a nasty finish. Kick, front kick, just like the one reminiscing Chandler and Tony Ferguson.
Yes.
So Chris Gutierrez is a fighter that I know can bang. He's 10 years the junior of Frankie Edgar, and he's going to come in there and try and do damage. Um, Look, he has some knockouts on his hand, but let's talk about Edgar now because I just wanted to talk about Gutierrez out of the way so I can
Yes.
really give Frankie Edgar his flowers. I mean, Frankie Edgar, he's done a lot for the sport. He's been around for so long. I mean, we're talking good 15 years in the UFC, something like that. It's a
Yes.
long career, and
Mm,
he's fought at multiple weight divisions as well. At 155, 145, 135. There's not many fighters that go. You can count on one hand how many fighters that really go through those three sort of divisions like that. I
divisions.
put
Yeah.
maybe I put maybe Jared Cannonier in that sort of space as well. Having
Mm.
gone through heavyweight,
Heavyweight,
lightweight,
light heavyweight.
and one of the
Mm.
five. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's only a handful of people that really fluctuate through those three divisions like that. And
Mm.
Frankie Edgar is giving so much of his career to fight fans, and to have a retirement fight in a big card like this at Madison Square Garden. I don't think there's not many fighters. Some people end their career on fight nights, like in the Apex.
Mm.
But he's got he's, what I mean, he's got Madison
MSG.
Square
Yeah.
Garden to go and end his career in, and and hang them gloves in the middle of the octagon when it's all said and done. I really want to thank him. Another one of Ali Abdelaziz's fighter. Yeah,
Mm.
Dominance MMA. People that know me from time and time and time. But when me and Chig was doing the channel, you guys used to say we go back and forth on Dominance MMA. How much I rep for these guys, man. I love every guy in that stable.
Yeah.
Those are my people. And Frank Edgar has given us a fantastic career, and I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him go out on top, but I'm a realistic MMA fan. I'm not oblivious to the dangers that Chris Gutierrez brings, and I don't think Chris Gutierrez will care one bit about Frankie Edgar trying to do his retirement fight over here. So I'm gonna bang a win for Chris Gutierrez. Maybe second round TKO, I'd say.
Okay. 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 Similar as well. I have similar prediction with you as well, looking at maybe TKO or decision win for Chris Gutierrez. Yeah. Well, Frank Edgar, thank you very much for your time and for all you've done for the fans, for the sports. We appreciate you, but we hope you get a victory. I'm still hoping somewhere, but I don't know
We're
if it's going to
hoping,
be
we're
a
hoping,
victory.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not
Okay.
stupid, man. We know what the sport is about, and
Yes.
you can't always call it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, moving on now. We'll move to the main card. We'll be looking at the next fight, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. So
Yeah.
tell us what you think about this fight and give us your breakdown.
Okay. Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. This is a big fight. I think this again. On another day, this card is headlining a pay per view, right? Maybe not even a fight night, like we said about Dominic Reyes and Ryan Spann. But this card, this very fight here, is headlining a pay per view by itself. Maybe a UFC 282 or 283. If say like an interim championship was on the line, or at least the co-main event itself. This is a fight that a lot of people will look at it and they'll be expecting to see 5 rounds because
Yes.
3 rounds ain't enough
Yes.
for these guys. Not in my opinion. These guys are 5 round fighters.
Yes.
But we've got them for 3 fights. It's probably something that I was thinking. I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe they could have negotiated a 5 round deal like Nate Diaz would. It called for a 5 round fight. If it's a high profile thing like this, so I like this fight a lot. These two, they had their beef, they had their differences. They saw each other in public, and they went for it on site. DC, as we know, is trying to squash this fight
Mm.
to squash the beef between these two
For the
guys.
fight, yeah.
They weren't having none of it. But when it's all said and done, these two are going to be in the octagon together with the ref. The door's going to be closed, and they're gonna sort out what we know as the beef between both of them, and we're gonna see one guy with his arms raised. Now, we had Pablito. Shout out to Pablito, Dustin Poirier's training partner. We
Okay.
had him on the Fight Week show, and this guy told us how hard Dustin Poirier works in the gym. He leaves no stone unturned. He's the first in the gym, last one to leave. Even though he's probably the biggest high-profile name
Him,
in
yeah.
the gym at ATC, and they've got some champions in there. Amanda Nunes is the trainer out there. They've got Kobe Covington, but he's really the one that's kind of that's really
The big
that's
name
really
now.
been
ATT, right?
yeah,
ATT.
yeah, yeah, ATT, American Top Team. Uh, and they've got some really, really good coaches over there. So, but then we look at ATT, and then we shift over to Sanford MMA with Henry Hooft. They've got some killers in that gym. Some of the bad boys. We've had the Impact
Kamaru's
Academy.
man,
That's also been
Kamaru's man from our gym
Kamaru
as
Usman
well.
is in there. Gilbert Burns. They've got some really, really big names. Raphael Stutz. Some really big names coming out of that gym. So when you look at where Marco Chandler is and his approach to the game, um, I don't know, man. This fight here, I've gone back and forth. I've been front and back. I've tried to weigh it up. I've tried to shake it all about, and still could not find a clear winner out of these two. Because they both bring pressure. They both walk forward.
Yes.
You saw Chandler's fight with Justin Gaethje.
Mhm.
Crazy fight. Look, at least two, all moving forward. These are guys that fight with pressure. So if
Contender for
both
the
of them
fight
are
of the year.
fighting with pressure, exactly. At some point, somebody's got to give in. I'm thinking who's going to shoot first. More likely, it's going to be Chandler. Uh, and Dustin's takedown defense is really, really good.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. Both of the records are pretty similar. I'm looking at it
Yes.
here. Chandler is 23 wins with 7 losses. The same thing with Poirier, 28 wins with 7 losses. Both got 7 losses, and one of them is going to give each other the eighth loss.
Yeah,
we don't know who he is yet.
yeah, but
Uh,
Poirier has more advantage when it comes to the knockouts, knockout power. 15 of his victory by knockout compared to Chandler 11. Not so bad, but there's something
not
I
so
saw
bad.
somewhere. I would like to really get some of your proper take here. But before we go
Please.
into that, I'll ask you a question just to soften the whole um thoughts. So, do you think this fight is going to be is the number one contender fight? Is it going to be for the title, the winner of this fight? First of all, let's start there.
Hmm. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. Even Islam is kind of come out and say, listen, I ain't trying to play no games. We brought Alexander Volkanovski over here, and usually in my in in our experience, and Chanda's been here before. He's been
Mm,
in this situation before,
yes.
and UFC kept the promise. They kept the
Yes.
promise and gave him Marco Oliveira, where he had to go in as a backup, weigh in, and the fight didn't drop out, so
Mhm.
they gave him the chance,
Mm,
and he had this chance with Oliveira. So I think they're gonna, despite all of this being the number one contender and all of that, I think they're gonna honor what Volkanovski came there for, because Volkanovski is not just anybody. He's
yes.
number one pound for pound. He's a champion, and what he's done in that featherweight division is been crazy. To dismiss the people that he's dismissed, the amount of times he's dismissed them. We're talking Holloway 3 times. Like, no one does that. No one's ever done that for Holloway. Not
Mm.
like that. So uh, I think the UFC is going to look at it and honor what the agreement for Volkanovski. Unless for Volkanovski, maybe pulls out of his through injury or whatever, then maybe one of these guys will then step in. But up until that happening, I don't see these guys being the direct this fight here being the direct number one contender. I think they already have that in Alexander Volkanovski. They won the super fight, and it's a big card that's going to happen in Australia. And you know, these are just more rumblings that happen. But typically, the UFC usually they honor it. If you've been a backup and you've made the weight, you traveled all the way over there to Abu Dhabi, you did everything they've asked you to do. That just in case this fighter drops in, you already have credit in the bank
Yeah.
with the UFC. You have credit in the bank, and not just that alone, but the type of champion that he's been and the people that he's put away is more credit in the bank, and it's number one pound for pound, more credit in the bank. I don't think the UFC is going to do Alexander Volkanovski dirty like that.
And
I think they're going
also,
to honor it.
they're going to his hometown, Australia. So kind of
Yeah,
clear. Okay.
of course.
Okay. And the next question, still just to make it easier for you to make up your mind. Michael,
Mhm.
basically, I don't know if you saw his breakdown. He said he's giving Poirier the edge. That Chandler is a bit chinny. That's his own
Hmm.
reason why he thinks Poirier could put Chandler away. And also, from my
Yeah.
own perspective, I see Chandler to be a better grappler or wrestler than Dustin. So
Yeah.
now, what do you say now?
To some extent, I see where this thing is coming from. I can understand because he does get dropped a lot. Oliveira dropped him, Gaethje dropped him, but these guys they can all hit hard. Um, Dustin got a lot of power. Dustin can knock people out.
Yes.
We see what he does to Connor recently. But having said all of that, they're not saying the power that Chandler also carries.
Mm.
Chandler has one punch knockout power. Ask
Yeah.
Dan Hooker. Ask Dan Hooker. He felt it. You know what I mean? And I love Dan Hooker. He's my boy. But he felt that power. Chandler, he does have that knockout power in his locker. And if he feels that maybe your chin can hold up, and he's not able to knock you out, he has other situations in the back pocket, like grappling, like
Mm.
takedown, and his ground and pound is just as savage as his stand-up knockout power. So if he gets you down and starts dropping hammer fists, on you, it could be lights out. So in that regard, Chandler has, I feel, he has more ways to win this fight than Poirier.
Mm.
And I usually go for a fighter that has more ways to win a fight than the guy that has maybe just the one way to win it. And that's the reason that I'm probably going to lean towards Chandler in this. I hate to say it, man. You know what I mean? Because I respect Dustin Poirier a lot. I think what is done in this fight game is phenomenal, and no doubt probably one of the legends of the 155 division. But as far as this fight in itself is concerned, I'm probably going to lean towards Chandler a little bit more, just because I feel he has more ways, more tools in the box, and more ways to win this fight.
Okay. For me, I'll go with Poirier because of he's a championship. Let me know kind of go this route. I'll kind of be disrespecting the Chandler is a champion at Bellator, but Poirier has been at the number one league, interim champion, I think twice. I think he has that championship mentality next level than Chandler, despite not being the main champion in the lightweight division. And I believe Poirier has a very durable chin as well. Before Chandler wants to shoot for takedowns and all that, he's going to be badly hot. And once Poirier gets you hot, it's hardly you recover from that situation. You mentioned Conor McGregor. Once he gets the problem about Poirier not being able to get you hot. Once you're hot, you hardly get back to that fight. So I think Poirier will knock Chandler in the third round. I believe he has the better gas tank. Once Chandler is hot, you see him kind of look. He looks vulnerable. He keeps on coming out, trying to brawl and all that, but deep down, for those who can see within, can tell this guy is hanging on. So I think Poirier will put him out in the third round. That's my belief. KO.
I'm also going to I'm also going to call this fight to the fight of the night. I'm going to call this fight to the fight of the night bonus. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth between these two guys. It's going to be crazy. I don't think 3 rounds is enough. I really don't.
Wow. Fight of the night. Okay.
But maybe I'm greedy, Maybe I'm greedy.
I know it's interesting. I'm just surprised. I didn't expect you to call this fight of the night, but I understand. But I have my own fight of the night. We're going to get there.
Okay.
So the next one is the co-main event, the title fight, the strawweight title, right? Strawweight title fight between the champion Carla Esparza versus former champion Weili Zhang. So, how do you see this fight playing out?
I'm worried for Esparza here. I really am. I mean, Rose Namajunas, Tog Rose, Miguel, shout out to Rose. She gave Carla Esparza the best wedding gift ever. You know, she didn't even have a face mask. She went to a wedding straight after the fight. I think it was about a week after the fight. She wore the belt at a wedding. I don't know if you saw the pictures. It's the best wedding gift she could have got. And so shout out to Carla Esparza. She's the champ, and you got to respect.
Hold on, Mr. Ola. Hope you're not insinuating she dashed the belt to Carla. Rose.
I mean, look, Rose froze. Rose didn't come out of the blocks. I mean, that's not the Rose that we usually see. And we're going to touch on the main event because I'm going to make a correlation between this fight, that Rose and Esparza fight to the main event. But Rose froze, and sometimes we always say, and I said it during the preview the preview to that fight, that sometimes you can't get over the mental hurdle, and we saw it with Zhang Weili and Rose as well. It's almost like she kind of almost froze in the second, and that's the bit in the back of her head that Rose knocked me out in the first round. I mean, the first time around, and maybe not psychologically gotten over it yet. And I think that the same thing kind of happened with Esparza and Rose. She didn't psychologically get over that loss to Esparza, and she just didn't turn up, and evidently gave the fight away to Carla Esparza. But this is nothing to take away from Carla Esparza's efforts in the fight. She gave a good fight. She took her down, kept her there, controlled the fight. Albeit there's not that much damage, but she controlled the fight. And sometimes when a lot of things does not happen in the fight, you have to take the key points. And the key points were a takedown, ground control time, and all those things did matter in that fight, which is why Carla Esparza won the fight. So we have to give her credit for that situation. but she's coming to fight somebody in Zhang Weili, so strong, somebody that that's so determined.
Mm.
She's coming back off off the back of a win against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I thought Jędrzejczyk, and I thought that was a really really good fight. Albeit Jędrzejczyk, it wasn't like the first fight between both of them.
Yes.
Another one that mentally, Weili already beat you before. Jędrzejczyk just couldn't get out of her head. Didn't really
Mm.
give the fight like the first fight. So when you start looking at all these second fights and the effect that the win in the first time around has over it, you kind of start to think, you know, is there something to do with a mindset thing and not so much a skill worthy
Yeah.
hurdle
Mm.
that they couldn't get over, So, but these two are meeting for the first time. These two are meeting for the first time, so it's clean slate for these two. And this is why I like this fight so much.
Okay.
People are writing off Carla Esparza. I'm not totally writing her off, even though I'm not going to pick her to win. I'm not going to totally write her off. And the reason being her style of fight. I
Mm.
feel like Zhang Weili already has a equalizer for that
Mm.
by having somebody like Henry Cejudo in
Mm.
your camp. You
Yes.
know, someone like Henry Cejudo being part of your training camp, being part of your coach. Um, I just think all those tricks, because if she can keep the fight standing, which Cejudo is gonna drill and drill and drill and drill and drill, Carla has no chance.
Mm.
I'm just being honest. And if they take it to the ground, maybe there's a little bit of chance there for Carla. But in the stand up, I don't think Carla has any chance of swinging
Mm.
with Zhang Weili. She has no chance. She'll get knocked out. Um, so I mean, she's so confident. She's coming into this fight with a
Yes, it win.
KO TKO win against Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Getting back this.
Whereas Carla's coming with a split decision win
Mm.
against Rose Namajunas. So, she's going to be coming into this fight a lot more confident than Carla. And I think Whaley is going to take this one. Um, I'm going to go second round TKO for this fight. Second round TKO for Jean Willy.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go third or fourth round KO. Same. Really, Zhang, I just believe she's next level, like you mentioned. She's too good, and I believe in the stand-up, Kazakh will not be able to match her up. Even in the ground game as well, she's going to scramble up. She's not going to stay there. And like you mentioned, training with Harris Cejudo. I didn't even look at that angle, but Whaley Zhang will win
That's a
this.
game changer, right?
Yes, yes. So I think Whaley Zhang will win this by KO as well. Worst case decision, yeah. Worst case scenario, she win on point. Yeah. So moving on to the main event, the one I've been so hungry to talk about. I've been looking forward to discussing this fight with you for weeks now. The main
Yep,
event,
yep.
UFC 281, Madison Square Garden, 3 a.m. UK time or 5 a.m. UK time. Similar time Nigeria as well, or West African time,
Yeah.
6 a.m. West African time. Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion, five title defense, taking on Alex Pereira, his former rival or old rival, meeting for the first time in the UFC. Alex Pereira knocked Easy out the last time they fought in kickboxing. Has two over Easy, so Easy is looking to get this one back. I'll walk you through some series of events that happened, the timeline of things that happened, but I'm going to start with the most recent one. Israel Adesanya released a video on his freestyle bender. I follow the channel so much. I keep to date to what's happening on this channel. And
Yep.
that particular workout, he said it was his best workout. He said to Ariel Helwani in an interview that this is the best preparation. He knows from that workout,
I
he
saw that
knew
interview.
he saw the interview. So he said, so toward the end of the interview, he said something Yoruba. I'm
Yeah.
I know a little bit of Yoruba words, and it seems he was saying this time around you cannot get one over me. I'm going to beat the hell out of you. That's my own understanding. Was swearing, but I
Yep.
don't know if you can actually tell the audience what he was
Well,
talking about.
it's very similar to what you just said. It
Okay.
said game over, game over, game over repeatedly. And right at the end there, when he switched over to our dialect, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be the hell out of you. I'm gonna be the fuck out of you, whichever way you want to look at it, and you're gonna be surprised." That's the very last thing he said
Oh,
before he cuts out that you're gonna be surprised. Everybody's gonna be surprised because
yeah,
nobody, well, except us, yeah, except
yeah,
his people, no one is giving him any kind of chance of winning this fight. No one, and I can understand why. You know, we just spoke about it in the Esparza and Zhang Wei and the psychological hurdle
mm,
that can stay with you once someone's defeated you before, right? So I can understand why people aren't looking to give him that chance, right? But I'm gonna prefix that by saying that happened in another organization in a whole different sport where the same rules that apply now didn't apply in that sport, and Easy is so seasoned in this sport,
mm.
right? So seasoned in this sport that people are looking at that. They're just looking at what happened in a kickboxing match and
Some did
trying
not know the
and
fight.
translating into this one,
Yes,
you
some
know?
didn't even see the
And,
fight.
and yeah, and people, I don't know if people have been, Easy is told go back and watch the fight. So if you're going to comment, at least so you have a context, go back and watch it because it's like the Usman and Leon Edwards fight. People just see the one clip where he got the head kick
Yes, sir.
and forgot about what happened the rest of the fight. You know, it happened to Leon Edwards himself when he fought Nate Diaz and he was whooping on Nate Diaz for 24 minutes. Nate Diaz got him once and got him on wobbly feet.
Yes,
Nobody cares about what he was doing to Nate Diaz for
and then
24 minutes.
yes,
You know, nobody cares. They only care about just that one last bit. And that's the nature of the beast, right? But real, I would, I don't want to say real fight fans, but maybe people that are not so casual as fight fans would take all these things into consideration and say, you know, I've got to look at the fight as a whole. Yeah, you got the win, and that's what matters in the end. But when you look at the fight as a whole, you can kind of see who was the better fighter in those two fights.
mm.
And that was, kickboxing days.
And
Over
basically,
here, we know and we know over here, we know who the better fighter is because he's the champion. He's the current champion. He went to 205. It didn't happen over there. He promised everybody, I'm going to come back to 185 and I'm going to rule it with my iron black fist. That's what he said, right? And he's done that. He's kept his word. He's fought the people that are top of the division. He's going background, lapping the people in the division. And I can understand people are saying, his fight has been boring lately and stuff like that. And this happens. This happens again with his interview with Ariel. He said he had a sit down with GSP, and GSP told him the same things happened to him. It happened to Anderson. It's happened to the greats. If you're great and you keep winning and you're going, you're lapping the division, everybody now has video on you,
mm,
right? People have the tape on you. They've seen so many tendencies, so many nuances because you've had that many fights in the
mm,
UFC, and they know what to work on. But you, as a champion, you don't have that many video of these opponents that's coming for you. So
yes,
you're the one with the target on your back.
mm,
You're the one that got what everybody else wants. So
yeah,
you're the one that everybody's training for. Usman has said this time and time and time again. I'm the one everybody's training for. I just have to train for one guy that they give me. But everyone in the division, they're training to come and get me. And that's what's happening with Easy. But sometimes everybody and this, like I said, the casual fans earlier on, they kind of want you to go in a brawl and give fight of the night performance every fight. Not every fight is going to be like the Gastelum fight. You know, some fights are going to be like the Vettori fight because you have to fight smart. As
mm,
a champion, you have to fight smart because every time those people confuse fighters as just fighters, the prize fighters. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I always try to remind people these are prize fighters. They're fighting for something. They're fighting for they're fighting for some coins. They're fighting for legacy. These are pride. These things means a lot to these fighters, and I try to explain it to people time and time again that these guys, they want their pay-per-view points. So if Easy has to fight a boring fight so he can get the next pay-per-view point on the next pay-per-view, then that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
You, as a challenger, have to come and take the belt away from him. We mentioned Dominic Reyes earlier on. Yeah, he didn't go and take the belt away from John Jones. That's why John Jones remained the champion. If he
Yes.
gave him a more convincing fight, it's even starting to happen with John Jones, because he's had so many fights out there. Everybody knows, they're preparing for John Jones, and sometimes his fights start to get boring, start knocking people out no more because people are working out his system. They're
Figuring out,
working out
yeah,
how
it's
to
fine.
fight him.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can see people. People might they can say all these things that they want to say about him, and Easy might even go out and lose on the night, right? But that doesn't diminish what is done in that division. To me, that doesn't diminish him as a champion. To me, and that doesn't diminish, the way he's carried himself as a champion. A lot of people said to me, even some fighters that I've interviewed, they said to me, sometimes his confidence crosses over to arrogance, but there's a
Mm.
thin line that you have to maintain as a
Mm.
fighter,
Mm.
as a UFC athlete
Mm.
and as a champion. Because when you get to that champion status, there's a different level of confidence. And a lot of people see that as arrogance. Sometimes you need it. Sometimes you do need it, in able to be able to get over the complexes. Because sometimes when they put a fighter in front of you, you have to either display that superiority complex.
Mm.
Otherwise, if you're not showing that arrogance, you will get that inferiority complex. And once you
Mm.
get that inferiority complex, it stays in your head. And when it
Mm.
stays in your head, you go in the octagon and you lose because you haven't come up with your best version of yourself, which is you strutting your chest,
Mm.
being loose,
Mm.
having a clear mind, and going out and doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
So
being the
Easy
king of
has
the
it all
kingdom,
together.
you definitely have to be proud of anything. You have to have that confidence, and like you said, people perceive that as arrogance. And the MMA fans sometimes are confused set of fans. You don't know what they want. Sometimes you don't talk. They say you're boring. He doesn't know how to talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say you are talking too much. He's arrogant, like you just mentioned. And like you mentioned, the fighters need to come. They prepare for the champion. And once you get a chance and you can't go in to get the belt, that's on you, not the champion.
Yeah.
Jared Cannonier did the same. He came in, he realized Izzy is just a different beast. Not the guy he think the skinny dude he think he's fighting all the time. This guy is a different beast.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything against Israel Adesanya. So it's a different fight. So let me not talk too much. So let me move straight into the trolling. Alex Pereira is showing some personality. People didn't see that version of him. I find some things funny about him. The last one he posted was the Elsa part. He posted the
Yeah.
Elsa part where he met with Elsa in New York yesterday. Prior to
Yeah.
that, he
Yeah.
also posted a knockout video, the highlights of his own
Yeah.
son trolling Adesanya. There's another time he
Yeah.
posted
I've
a
seen it
video.
controlling. Yeah.
Another time he posted a video of Adesanya with the marks on his face, or a picture on his Instagram saying, "Good morning, are you awake?"
Mm-hmm.
A different kind of
Mm-hmm.
trolling. Also, he mocked Adesanya's tennis ball style of training. So different things.
Yeah.
And Adesanya is not saying anything. So how do you see this? Do you think he's trying to get into Adesanya's head? Or what do you think his strategy? Can you just try to break down this?
Right. So I'm gonna prefix this so you can understand, just to give a little bit of context. When Conor McGregor got into Jose Aldo's head, Aldo was going crazy, going mad. It just took him away from the fight mentally, got under his skin.
Hmm.
But then Conor tried to do the same sort of thing to Dustin. Oh, your wife is in my DMs. Your wife is your husband. All these sort of things.
It didn't work.
And Poirier says, it's just noise. Just noise. Noise. That's all you're doing. We'll see when we get in the cage. He tried to do it to Khabib. Khabib can't even speak English like that. Okay, you have your time in the cage. When we get there, we will talk.
Mm.
Paulo Costa tried to do the same thing, trolled easy, trolled. He didn't stop trolling. You know, there's something about Brazilians that they love to troll. You know, these
Mm.
guys are they love to troll, right? But who got the last laugh? He ended up getting humped, and still that image I can't get rid of that image of Easy humping him at the end when he went to get off him. You know, I still have a nice gif of that thing of Easy getting off of him and humping him, right? So who's got the last laugh then, right? So it's all good doing all the trolls now, and it's all part of the build up, and I like it. I like a good build up. You know, I'm a sucker for it, and that's for us as content creators. Please give me more trolling.
Give us
You know,
more
give us
content.
something to talk about.
Give us more content.
Give us content. You know, please. You know, give us more trolling. So I'm not against it. It's part of the build up. It's part of the fight game. They understand it. They under you know a lot of the fighters that I speak to, I always ask them. So how's your trash talk game? Are you working on it? Are you building it? And they say, yeah, it's a steady progress. And some people don't like it. They just like to do their work in the cage. Some people love the whole build up and the
Yeah.
whole trash talk thing. They actually go and take lessons on how to do it. You'll be surprised the lengths that fighters will go to learn how to do trash talk. It's crazy. Um, but look, I love the fact that Pereira is bringing the hit because it makes for a good main event. And if 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 there's something that everybody's been complaining about being boring, then at least the build up hasn't been boring. That's
Mm.
for sure.
Mhm.
So that goes to tell us that we're gonna have an exciting fight in the hand come Saturday night.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to get straight into. I don't think we have enough time. I have 3 minutes, but I don't. I think we'll have to come back for another 10 minutes because this fight is something something I'm so excited about. So now let's talk about the face off. Today is the actual press conference. What are you
Press conference,
expecting?
yeah.
So we're going to combine the next 10 minutes to talk about the proper path to victory and breakdown. So what are you expecting
Okay.
today to see? Who is going to blink first in the face off? What do you expect to see from Pereira
Um,
and Adesanya in this press
Easy
conference?
has been in again. Easy has been in so many face-offs. It's been, it's been in interim title face-offs. It's been in title defense face-offs. He's moved up to 205 and faced off with Jan Baovic. So facing off is not, and he's faced off with Alex Pereira at least twice in glory days.
Yes.
So I don't think this is a new thing. It's going to be a new thing for Easy here. Again, uh, it won't be long. Let me just say this, right? It won't be long. All these fans that probably want Easy to lose and all of that. It won't be long before they start complaining that Alex Pereira can't speak English and he's a boring champion and he's this and that. It won't be long. They'll be back. They're always out there. They are always out there. But when you look at
But should I correct
when
you?
you
You
look at
mentioned a boring champion. I don't think he's going to get to be a champion.
no, I'm just saying. Well, I stand corrected. But if it does, I'm just saying we know what fight fans are like. You know,
Yes.
one minute they're for you, the next minute they turn on you because you
Yes, I
can't
agree. I
speak
agree.
English or you can't do press conferences properly. It's
Mm.
just what they do. We've seen it time and time again what they've done to other fighters. But I take your points. I don't think he's gonna get to be a champion, but that's just our opinion and our prediction. But on the face of part of things, I think it's gonna be a good press conference. I think Izzy's not gonna be faced by whatever Alex Pereira is gonna bring. And with Alex Pereira, I don't think he's even bothered about this press conference. I think he just wants to get in there and do work. So uh, this press conference is more of, I think both of them are seen as a formality. Just
Mm.
get that out of the way and let's do this. And that's how I think both of them are going to take the press conference. I actually think the best performance of the press conference is going to come from Dustin Poirier and Chandler. I think those two are going to be the stars of the press conference.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Talking about Adesanya and Alex Pereira, um, people believe Adesanya sorry, Alex Pereira is one beast, one monster that Israel should be scared of. They talk about his left foot, they talk about his flying knee. And for me, I think after you take out these two, the flying knee and the left hook, that's it, neutralize Alex Pereira. But what is your take with regards to people seeing Alex Pereira as a monster? Is he actually a monster like people think he is?
Anybody that knows me, that's been watching for quite some time, I know I know my beliefs on fighters or trained fighters. For me, no fighter is scared of anyone.
Mm.
These guys are trained to take a punch in the face and dish out punches in the face.
Mm.
Right? These are trained fighters. These are professional fighters. You know, we speak to them all the time. Do you every time you speak to a fighter, because you speak to them as much as I do you get any vibe from them that they're scared of who they're gonna
No,
fight?
no.
So for me, I don't think using the word scared towards a professional fighter, I think is a wrong term to use. I think if they come up with, say they're nervous, then you can use nerves in
Mm.
so many different ways. And
Yeah.
and Usman is, I come back to Kamaru Usman. He's alluded to this so many times. I like to fight fighters that make me nervous because they make me sharpen my tools. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So well. They make me work harder in the gym. Because they're making me nervous. Then he's
Mm.
not scared to fight anyone. No one's
Mm.
scared to. If you're a professional fighter, you're not
Yes.
scared to fight another man. It's just
Mm-hmm.
you, the other man, and the referee in the octagon. That's it. You're not scared, but you might be nervous
Yes.
because of what the other guy might do against what you're gonna bring to the table.
Mm.
And it's whoever can control that nerves the best, probably gets the best result on the
Mm.
night.
Mm.
So that's my take on, to us fight fans, all that stuff about, oh, he's a monster, he's a this, he's a that, he's a killer, he's a savage. That's for us. Yeah, that's for us to talk about, right?
Mm.
But for the fighters themselves, they don't actually look at each other and think, I'm scared of you or I'm scared
Mm.
of that guy.
Mm.
Why do you think fighters, if we're talking about somebody being scared, why do fighters move from a lower weight to go and fight somebody else in the upper weight?
Yes.
If he was scared of Jan Blachowicz, why would he move from 185
Middleweight.
to go and fight somebody that's bigger, got more power, and
Mm.
all of that? He
Mm.
was really scared.
Mm.
So I don't subscribe to fighters being scared of one another. I just
Okay.
think they get nervous, and whoever can control their nerves on the night, probably gets the job done.
Okay. Okay. So now to the proper breakdown. So
Yeah,
Adesanya undefeated in middleweight still, just one defeat in his MMA career.
yeah.
And Alex Pereira also one defeat, young career, 6-1, Adesanya and 23-1. So how do you see this fight playing now? Adesanya has more knockout wins, 15 knockout wins. Alex Pereira 5 knockout wins. Alex Pereira has won two of his fights by left hook, one by flying knee. So people are putting their eyes towards the flying knee and the left hook. So
Yeah.
how do you break down this fight, Mr. Ola? I give you the floor now.
Mm. I have to look at this and 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 give Alex Pereira his dues, right?
Mm.
Because him coming to the UFC obviously wanted this fight to happen.
Mhm.
Easy. Don't forget, people, please do not forget. Alex Pereira did not call out Easy. Easy called out Alex Pereira after his last fight against Jared Cannonier because he wanted this fight. He wanted the narrative killed. He knows why the UFC went to sign this guy. You know what I mean? He saw all of this coming, right? He's been prepared for all of this, right? So now we're here, and I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. By the way, um, there's gonna the problem. What everybody's saying, and I get it, but this is my view on it. Both of them, I'm looking at the stats right now. They both got the same, near enough the same reach,
Yes.
same height. They're going to be coming in at the same weight, roughly near enough the same age. Maybe Alex Pereira by 2 years, but he's 35 years, he's 33.
Yes.
And significant strikes per second is where Alex Pereira's got way more than Easy. And he's at 6.29, where Easy is at 3.93. But you can understand why Easy's at 3.93 is because most of these significant strikes are in title fights.
Yeah.
And people are a bit more cagey. Don't be surprised if you don't see Alex throwing that much because he doesn't want to get countered and he knows he's fighting against an expert kickboxer like himself. Don't be surprised if you see Pereira's activity lowers a little bit because there's so much at stake.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like all the others like Bruno Silva or Sean Strickland where these guys are just they're just walking him down and he just catches them because he knows how to time them properly. But with Easy is not the one that's going to be coming at you. He wants you to come the same way Alex Pereira likes his opponent to come to him. They both have the same style.
Yes.
The only problem now is they're doing it in 4 ounce gloves, not 10 hours. And this is where the problem is. Overall, I believe Easy is the better MMA fighter. This is not a kickboxing match, and I think that's a factor. I really, really think that's a factor. I look at this fight, man, and it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I actually think it'll be a better fight than what we've seen Easy in.
Okay.
But I think it's not gonna end with a finish from either guys.
Oh,
I
really?
actually think Easy will win on the decision. Yes.
But,
I think Easy is gonna win this on the decision.
I see something similar to me, my own vision, right? Do I see things plain? I see things similar to that of Easy Paulo Costa. Because Paulo Costa, I was more scared of that fight than even this fight. Because Paulo Costa, when I saw the fight, the brawl he went with Romero, I was like, damn, can Easy take this guy down? Can Easy neutralize this guy? But you saw what he did with his leg kick. So I'm also looking at that aspect. Alex Pereira is not someone who throws so much leg kick. He throws his kicks to the body, not to the leg. So I think Easy, from my opinion, I think Easy can neutralize this guy by chopping him bit by bit. I did a video saying this same word, chopping him bit by bit. So and neutralizing Alex Pereira and maybe finish him in the later round. Because in one of his videos uploaded on the Freestyle Bender, his channel, YouTube channel, some of his crew, his team member were like, he has never been to 5 rounds. He has never been to 5 rounds. Even Era Helwani asked Adesanya in the interview that what if you get this knockout in the first round? He said, why Easy doesn't want the first round knockout? It's almost unrealistic for Easy to knock, unless accidental knockout, something happens, and it can go both ways. Israel can catch him off guard. He can catch Easy off guard. But Israel knows this guy is just beyond the first round fighter. He's a world-class fighter. He's a champion in his own right. In kickboxing, 2-time champion or 2 division champion in kickboxing. So coming to MMA, it's not going to be a first round finish, in my opinion. So I think Easy is looking at taking this guy. He says so. He's looking at drowning this guy. So I'm looking at Easy's statements, looking at his walkout, and then putting my analogy together. So I think Easy is looking at finishing this guy because I said so in another video that Easy winning on point is not revengeful for me. I'm not trying to kind of how do they say it? There's what they say, trying to instigate or push. It is not seeing this video, so it's not even going to be bothered by my video. But a decision win for me is not enough as a fan of Easy and as a fan of MMA who want to see, after seeing what Easy has been through, the fans calling him boring, I think Easy should go in for a finish. But Easy is going to do this strategically. That's my opinion, where I see it playing out. He will try to break Pereira down 1 to 3 rounds. When he is tired, he's vulnerable, and then Easy will go for a TKO finish, similar to Paulo Costa. I don't know. What do you think about my own opinion? I mean,
with the way you're taking it. I like
Okay.
the direction that you're taking it, and that's very, very plausible.
Mm.
Very, very plausible. I think it's plausible to think Easy will take him into deeper rounds because we've not really seen Pereira there.
Mm.
But I'm looking at what Easy said in my dialect that that we said at the top of the show.
Mm.
Um, because I don't think Easy just wants to knock him out.
Mm.
Easy just wants to beat him up. This is what he said.
Mm.
I want to beat the hell out of you. Like he
Mm.
just wants to beat him up, and beating him up could be 50-45
Mm.
domination.
Mm.
That's beating him up.
Sure.
Maybe there might be a 10 round in there in round 4 when Pereira starts to get tired, and Easy don't want to finish him, just wants to put that beating on him,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And that's one way to humiliate another fighter.
Mm.
Because in kickboxing, they've seen knockouts. They see knockouts all the time.
Yes.
In MMA, it probably just wants to show him that you're in a different spot right now. You're in
And
MMA,
I'm the superior fighter here.
and I'm a superior fighter here, and I will show you. You might even take him down.
Mm.
You might even take him down. Because Easy's been talking about this for the last, I'll say maybe 3 or 4 fights. That
Mm.
every time I want to do something crazy, I want to do some takedown, I want to do some grappling, but my coach keeps telling me, hey, Easy, stay on plan. Hey, Easy,
Mm.
you know what I mean? This might be the fight where Eugene Beerman says, unleash, take him down, choke
Mm.
him out. At least maybe try a submission attempt in the later rounds. It might not even look. I was shocked when I saw Kevin Holland choke out Tim Mings. You know, nobody thought that was even in his locker like that. I didn't see that coming. Did you?
No,
I
no.
was shocked. So who knows what he's been practicing? Who knows? But he says he's got some. He was saying on Ariel's show. I know something you lot don't know.
Mm.
I'm gonna show you, man. He
Mm.
was giving the clues. He's giving us clues and hints of
Yeah.
what he's gonna do,
Mm.
right? So the way that I'm thinking is Easy wants to embarrass him because he's been embarrassed enough,
Yes.
and knocking him out in the first second or two is not gonna embarrass him because they've seen that so many times in kickboxing. That's their deal over there, knocking people out, but
Yes.
slowly grinding. We hear Usman say all the time, just taking a man's soul, just taking a man's heart, making a man believe that after he's said and done, after you spend all this time in there with me, you know I'm a better man than you. You
Yes.
know deep in your heart, I'm a better fighter than you. And you know, Easy's been taking that book. He did it with Whitaker the second time round. Did it with Vittori the second time round. Went all 5 rounds with those guys.
Yes.
And just showed them that even when you grapple me and take me to the ground, and he turned inside the guard on Vittori, and you know what I mean, and he ended up on top.
Yes.
That's taking the soul out of him. I say,
Yes.
you thought you was better than me here. Now what? Look
Yeah.
where we are.
Mm.
So these are the things that I think Easy wants to prove
Okay.
to people that have been expecting him so far coming into this fight. He's just going to knock him out. Yeah. But I think Easy wants to prove a point to everyone that I'm
Mm.
the champion here. I'm the superior man here. I'm better at MMA than you are. You're a novice when it comes to MMA.
Mm.
Kickboxing, you're a champion, but MMA, you're a novice. I'm a champion, and that's what Easy's got to come out and show on the weekend. And I think a dominant performance will satisfy me as an Easy fan and as a
Mm.
fight fan because I know the psychological hurdles that
Yes.
he has to overcome
Mm-hmm.
to just to get through this fight. And we've said it with Zhang Weili twice. We said it with Rosna Martinez, with Carla Esparza twice. This
Mm-hmm.
is a big, big mental hurdle.
You
And
sure?
people aren't giving it enough credit. And they just think, oh, yeah, I want Easy to go there and knock him out. No. Easy has to fight smart here because he knows how dangerous Alex Pereira is.
Yes. Awesome. 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 I like the perspective also you brought in. So fantastic. Final prediction. Not
Easy
decision,
by
right?
decision.
Decision. Okay.
Easy
I,
by
I, I
decision.
always go with two prediction. KOTQ in the fourth round or decision, the worst case decision. But I want that KOTQ badly. I don't know why, but I can see all your point. I guess it's also good if you can win a dominant performance. But I just feel getting one back would be KOTQ. So thank you very much, Mr. Allah, for your time. I really appreciate you. I hope to see you some other time, talk to you. Guys, check out the Fight Week show on YouTube. The handle is going to be on our title or in the description. Check the page out, support them. They're doing very, very good stuff. And see you some other time, guys. Bye for now, the African Fighters.
Come on, Africans!